imagine this, wala ka ng problema at all. And sa buong mundo, ikaw lang yung taong walang problema. It's pretty great, right? And I think for most of us, we crave that. We hope na somehow hindi na tayo problema on a lot of things, regardless of the social status. Kasi I think problems are something that's hindi siya sa isang social status lang. 'Di ba? Problems are present in everybody's life, regardless may yaman ka or may hirap ka. It's something that happens to everybody. It makes us equal in a sense, no? So ideally, we all want to have what do we call this, like a stress-free life. Pero that's something that's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen and hindi mo siya ma-achieve. And I think na for some, itong mga problema na to, we try to handle them differently. So for some, maybe you try to strike the iron while it's hot, diba? You fix the problem right then and there. Or maybe for some, you try to strategize. Paano mo ba ito gagawin? Little by little. Or for some, maybe, this is one thing that we're gonna talk about today, is that you try to live one day at a time. And I think this is something happening around us for mostly, maybe sa mga kaedad ko dyan or not. If you agree with me, that's great. If not, that's okay. But I think that people are trying to live one day at a time. And today we're gonna talk about what it means and if it's bad or what does it look like, to live one day at a time. So, if hindi ka busy, tara, samahan mo ko. Probably this would take more than 5 minutes, but we're doing something different. So, come on, let's take 5. Hi guys! Welcome to the 5 Minute Podcast, and probably bago ka dito, if you're wondering, this podcast usually just takes about 5 minutes, pero we're doing something different today. So today, we're gonna do a new episode, and I'm planning to maybe do this every once in a while, not to make, let me rephrase that, to make more than 5-minute videos on things that I think are worth talking about a little bit longer. Not that some topics are less, no, but I'm just saying na I think this is one good topic for us to talk about. And today, we're gonna talk about the interesting topic about living one day at a time. So, honestly, this idea was just pitched to me by a friend. So, Ate Bo, if naririnig ka, shoutout kita. Thank you for asking me this question about what does it mean, diba, to live one day at a time, to just cherish the moment as it is. So, yeah, today we're gonna start. We're gonna call this segment Fabcast. So, it's different. I'm just gonna throw it there. So, welcome to Fabcast, pre-segment ng 5-Minute Podcast. So, what does living one day at a time mean? So, I'm gonna read it out just for the spirit of, correctness. So, according to Merriam-Webster or Merriam-Webster, I'm not sure how you guys read it. So, it means to deal with each day's problems as they come instead of worrying about the future. So, just a few interesting things dito sa description na to, no? Na you try to deal each problem as they come instead of worrying about the future. Now, what does this mean? So, maybe we're gonna break it down to a few things that I think are good when it comes to living one day at a time, and how it's gonna work for all of us. So, I think the first thing on this list is to deal with each day's problems as they come. I think this point gives, what do you mean this? It gives realistic expectations. So, in the spirit of honesty and transparency, the reason why I find this topic interesting is because I do it. Honestly, my life isn't perfect and there's gonna be some battles, challenges, and minsan sasabi ka na lang na suko na ako, yoko na, baka pwedeng, send help naman, di ba? Pero there's gonna be times na your problems are gonna eat you up. So, what I do personally when I live one day at a time is that I try to face the challenges that I have on that day, pero I'm not particularly neglecting yung mga present problems na meron ako. So for me, living one day at a time means that you just have to take care of today and let tomorrow worry about itself. And probably you've heard it somewhere. Actually, that was a biblical phrase. So I'm a believer, just in case some of you are wondering. So I'm just gonna throw it in there. Just in case curious kayo. Share ko lang, no? But, on another point, it also means na kung hindi mo kaya ngayon, it's gonna be okay. What's important is you did something and then maybe just do something different again tomorrow. Parang hindi mo naman kailangang ipilit. You just have to take care of one thing per day until eventually everything goes, better, yung mga kaya mo lang ayusin. So, question is, does this mean that you're neglectful or nine-neglect mo yung mga bagay na glaring din sa buhay mo sa season mo na to? Well, I don't think that's it, or I don't think that way. I just think na sometimes kasi we blindly try to convince yourself that everything will be alright. And because of that, you tend to try to fix everything in one go. Na nane-neglect mo na yung fact na possible ma-burnout ko sa ginagawa mo yun because you're so focused on wanting to fix the problem that you're neglecting not the problem, but you're neglecting what you want to do for yourself. So, which actually brings me to my first point for this conversation today, which is living one day at a time means that you get to set realistic expectations. So, what do I mean by that? So, probably it means that you're just acknowledging that you have limitations, you have daily limitations. And as humans, napapagod tayo. We just want to make sure that things can be handled every day. So, regardless sa kung anong ginagawa mo, as of this moment, yung season mo na to, we all have the tendency to want to na maging reality na wala na tayong problema. Now, I think also na ang goals or setting a goal is not only for long term. There can be short-term goals. For example, you can just have a goal for the day na pwedeng matapos mo lang yung trabaho mo in time, dapat by 5 o'clock makauwi ka na, hindi ka na mag-OT, di ba yung mga ganun, small things. So, goals doesn't have to be big. Sometimes yung goals mo, it can just be to achieve one thing a day. And kailangan mong maging realistic sa mga parts na yon. So, I think that living one day at a time helps with that. Kasi nga, when you try to set realistic expectations for yourself, it makes it easier for you to try to lessen the burden little by little. Kasi as humans, and I'm guilty of this, believe me, gusto ko, like what I've said earlier, gusto ko sana maayos na lahat in one go. Kasi syempre nga sa sobrang sakit na ng ulo natin, napapaano ka lang, hoy, send help naman guys sa mga, Lord, parang ayoko na ng ganito, di ba? Parang napapagod na ako. And we tend to just fall out of yung yung matapang self natin. And then, dito papasok yung breakdown moments natin kasi we're so burned out, we're trying to achieve things unrealistically. So, meron ako mga kilala, mga naririnig ko na stories na because they're trying to fix a lot of things in one go unrealistically, yung mga breakdown nila, bigla na lang lumalabas out of nowhere. And for many of us, sometimes hindi natin afford na mag-breakdown. I've heard this friend one time, sabi niya sa akin, alam mo ba kailangan ko i-schedule yung breakdown sessions ko kasi hindi ko afford to have that. And that's a sad thing. That's a really sad thing na somehow yung unrealistic expectations natin about trying to fix some of our burdens comes with the cost of us neglecting na rin feelings na rin natin. So somehow, living one day at a time can help you set realistic expectations for yourself para hindi naman masyadong burden yun sa sarili mo. So I hope that that's one thing na hindi mo ginagawa. Or if it works for you, go ahead, schedule your breakdown sessions, but don't be too hard on yourself, di ba? Try to breathe, try to do something just for today, and that's not a bad thing, okay? It doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be grand, you just have to finish one thing a day or one thing at a time, and believe me, it's really gonna help you out. So the next thing I think is that living one day at a time helps you have focus. Because sa panahon ngayon, dahil masyado tayong nakakakita ng maraming bagay sa paligid natin. And itong mga bagay na yung reasons why we tend to overthink, why we overexert ourselves to try and fix everything in one go is because we don't have enough focus. Dahil you're trying to fix everything kasi lahat sila glaring, and that's the reality. Lahat ng problema mo magiging glaring yan. But this one is something na I'm not sure everybody would agree with me, but this is my philosophy as of the moment. So, if you don't agree with me, that's fine. But if you're with me, then that's great. Is that, yung problema mo, kahit hindi mo yun ayusin ngayon, magiging problema pa rin siya. So, if you're beating yourself too much on problems like that, then that's a time na you're trying not to help yourself. So, if you're focused on the things that you can manage today because you've set realistic expectations for now, then I think that it's gonna bring you some sort of peace. Kasi at the end of the day, yung mga bagay na we put our focus on, sila yung mga bagay na makokontrol mo lang. And when there is some sense of control in our lives, somehow, it brings a sense of hope and fulfillment that, okay, kontrolado ko pa rin pala to. Okay, meron pang pag-asa kasi may mga bagay ka pa na nakokontrol. May mga bagay ka pa na kaya mong i-achieve even if it's just for a day. So, and this one, I think this is gonna be my final point for this topic. It's that living one day at a time means that you get to take care of yourself too. So again, let me reiterate that. It means that you get to take care of yourself too. Because somehow, di ba nga, katulad ng mga sinasabi ko nung umpisa pa lang, somehow, yung mga bagay na hindi natin kontrolado, ito yung reason kung bakit tayo napapagod, nabe-burnout, and then eventually nabe-breakdown tayo. And sadly, it takes a toll on all of us. So, if ikaw ay isang tao na never mo pang naranasan yung mga nararanasan ng mga taong pagod na sa buhay, then I'm really happy for you. I hope that you don't get to experience that. But if ikaw ay nandun sa posisyon na yon, or ikaw ay isa sa mga tao na parang you're so overwhelmed about everything that's happening around you, I hope that you remember that at the end of the day, you are what matters. You matter, and not everything else, or not anything else more than you. Yung mga problema natin lahat, it can be big, it can be small, they can be overwhelming. But at the end, I know it's gonna be easier said than done, but I hope that you try to say this out loud palagi. This is what I do when I tend to be, so tired of life. I just say this, kaya ko to today. I can do this. Kaya ko to today. And somehow, me trying to say that to myself brings me a sense of calm and reminder that whatever my problems are, ayoko na it's gonna be worth losing my sanity. So, when I try to live one day at a time, it just means that I am human enough to admit na yung pagod ko, it's gonna happen. And I don't want that to be the definition of how I'm gonna live my life, diba? So, your problem shouldn't be that. They shouldn't be defining your life or how you want to handle your life. Kasi there's gonna be more than life to just the problems that you're facing. So think about this, diba? Think about good things. Try to i-pep talk mo yung sarili mo na, for today, sige, ito try ko na. Pagkatapos ko nito, I'm gonna do something for myself para naman medyo gumaan-gaan yung loob ko. Kasi living one day at a time doesn't only apply to you trying to fix problems. But it's also one thing to try and remind yourself that you can try to take care of yourself too. Maybe pamper yourself in a day. Try to, make yourself happy for a day. I-splurge mo yung sarili mo for a day, diba? Yung mga #deserve ko to moments mo. It also falls on that. So don't forget to, take care of yourself. Because then again, you just need to let tomorrow worry about itself. Kasi outside of the problems, I strongly believe that there's a greater promise that you'll be able to overcome all of them. Kasi mas malakas yung puwersa na nasa iyo kesa dun sa mga bagay na naghihila sa pababa. So, amongst all of these things, diba, I hope that when you live one day at a time, you don't forget yourself. Don't lose yourself around the burdens that you have. So, in reality, because I think, diba, in reality, you really just have one day. And that's a long time. 24 hours is a long time, diba? And living one day at a time means that you don't get to give up. Okay? Lagi mong tatandaan na wala kang hindi kaya. Kaya mo kahit sa araw lang na to. And then tomorrow, just tell that to yourself again. Just try and, remind yourself that I can do this today. I'll definitely can do it tomorrow. Well, okay, there you go. That was something, yung mga topics natin na yun. I do hope na yung mga sinabi ko, I was able to make my point come across clear, in a way. Medyo heavy yung last part para sa akin kasi nga, we're just trying to do our best every day. So, if you've felt na ikaw ay isang tao na you're just living one day at a time, kudos to you. Give yourself a tap mo yung sarili mo because it just means that, you're just doing your best. And I'm sure, and I've always believed na walang tao na nagbigay ng best niya ang nasayangan sa dulo. Whether you win or not, you did your best and that's what's important. And you know what? Wala namang permanente sa mundo. Everything's gonna be okay. Yung mga problema mong nasolusyonan mo, mapapalitan na ng bago. Nan-discourage pala. No, what I'm trying to say is that there's gonna be something that's always gonna come up. But the question is, how do you handle it? So, then again, just try to do it one day at a time. And I'm hoping na this one help, maybe share it to your friends. If may kakalala ka na who's, experiencing the same, maybe you can share this video up. And I hope we can talk again next time again. My name is Cams, and like what I always say, don't forget to take 5. See you next time.